What's poppin', y'all? Recently, a clip has been going around of Tyler, the Creator, where they feel like he's taking some shots at Akademiks.
And it's good to read this and learn things about this album that I didn't know. I got this one and I got an Earth, Wind & Fire one. One of the most recent ones they did on a recent album is To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick. I don't think a lot of people know about this, but even as much of a music nerd as I am, and I like to learn about stuff, every day I'm still learning. And this morning I got through the first 2 chapters. So
that's a fire collection.
What,
I've never seen that.
what Akademiks, what Shade Room, what page is gonna tell you about this? It's not provocative. What's more provocative is so-and-so a snitch. So-and-so says so-and-so. Like, that's what we have to deal with. So, and it's only gonna get worse because you 16 and you see that and you like rap, you wanna be a journalist. Well, it's either that or you gotta write about the XXL freshman list. So we not even, like, we're in such a weird space.
And that's why this is important.
Very weird space.
You know?
So this is a little bit weird to some because 5 years ago, in 2021 that is, Tyler, the Creator would express a level of dissatisfaction. Some would say sadness, some would say feeling disrespected, overlooked as a rapper because he wasn't posted on Akademiks.
Like, I check Akademiks every day, but Akademiks don't post me unless it's something negative. Tyler say some such. Right. Tyler, it's never about like.
There's a lot of times you can post it. That's a boring headline.
I know, but it's like I don't get the Tyler sold this out or
right.
Have the performance.
Well, you don't post pictures holding stacks of cash,
right? But it's not a bad thing. But and then like you got a Kevin Abstract or a Corday or anyone that's kind of on that side, they don't get posted on that, right? So you get that. XXL isn't what it was 15 years ago. Not in a bad way, just things change. Same with The Source. The only major rap thing that really look at is the Akademiks, right? And I was just, this is getting to a point. Complex, they're like a multimedia thing anymore. They don't talk about style no more.
And it's ironic, this clip, it must have made them furious while he was being interviewed because he was being interviewed by Hot 97. And Ebro, I don't think he hates Akademiks. I just think he is probably disgusted by Akademiks. Now, Rosenberg, on the other hand, he certainly hates Akademiks. So 2 people that aren't too fond of him, I think Laura, she's just kicking it there, man. Like, she's just doing her thing. So first, let's address what Tyler, the Creator said, but we need to give context to this, which nobody did. Well, not nobody. That's saying too much. This interview clip was from 2022. So now they just kept this interview. They didn't release it. And how did I find out it was from 2022? Well, I did something that nobody else will do. I went and looked it up and I wanted to know more context on how this conversation even started. Because this happened about an hour and 40 minutes in. But in the first second of the video, the podcast, they say that this was filmed in 2022. So that makes perfect sense. And it's not that I'm expecting people to look that up because, dude, people are busy. They're not going to watch an hour and 40 minutes of, well, very rarely are they going to watch an hour and 40 minutes of Tyler, the Creator, talking to DJ Drama. And you got to keep in mind, it makes sense why this dropped in 2022 because that's around the same time that Tyler, the Creator, did his Gangsta Grills mixtape with DJ Drama. That was Call Me If You Get Lost era, I believe. That was in 2021. So this being done in 2022 makes sense. However, first off, when he's talking about Akademiks, Shade Room, all these other pages, number one, he wanted to be on those pages. And number two, he is being critical, saying that, hey, look, we have to deal with this stuff. But no, that's not the case. Because number one, because Tyler, the Creator, as of late, has been on old head hating mode. He has no intention of trying to understand the new generation, no intention of opening his mind to some people that may be talented or may not be talented. Like, for example, he was just harping on Ian, and he has this dig for white rappers that I just don't know. I don't know where it came from, but he was been going in on this Ian dude for forever. And so much so that Boo, the guy that signed him, Akon's brother, had to press up on him, or not press up on him, but digitally let him know, like, yo, Tyler, I signed this guy. He doesn't sound like Future. like this guy's been improving his music consistently since he got into the game. And he's shown a lot of respect for the genre. Like, this guy's not a meme. Like, maybe he blew up off of a gimmick, but that's not the case. And then when you talk about a Yeet too, Yeet is carrying the game with Don Toliver right now when we're talking new rappers. But I don't hear Tyler, the Creator, talking about these guys, because Tyler, the Creator, he's so stuck in the past. Now, if Tyler, the Creator, is trashing a dude like Too Slimy, I can understand. It's like, yeah, this guy is hard to listen to for a lot of people, me included. So that's to get that out of the way. And then Akademiks, yeah, we're going to be fair here. This guy doesn't cover too much when it comes to historical stuff, but Akademiks was never the guy that was going to break down history. Akademiks was news and commentary, you could say satire, in regards to, at that time, war in Chirac. It was about the now and maybe what was going to come in the future, but really it was about the now. So to put any type of expectation of documentation, history, research into the past, things like that on Akademiks is like when people call me a journalist or anybody else a journalist that doesn't refer to themselves as journalist. They throw that label onto you and the expectations alongside it when you never called yourself that. So that's where we have that. But what was the lead up to this? Well,
Cardi or Tutu or Cha-Cha, Mr. Fufu Top 10. Them white kids that's running them Reddits, they don't give a f***. They're not about to bring up no history about that. And then when the black dudes that actually have these things, they just talking about if Gunna's a snitch or not. We're not going to put no actual history on this stuff. We don't even respect the people we have now. What makes you think we're going to do that at that point? So it's such a weird disconnect. But I grabbed that because I found out about this book series called 33. Have you heard of them?
No.
So I'm in a bookstore and I see the word voodoo. And I'm just like, no, that's not D'Angelo's album that came out February 2000, one of the greatest things ever. And I look, and it's a book on voodoo. So I'm looking, and it's this book series that just do these different small books about different albums.
Wow.
They did Earth, Wind & Fire, they did Velvet Rope, they did Joni Mitchell stuff. And what they do is they get people who love these albums, who's journalists, writers, reviewers, critics, whatever, to write about the album, when they first heard it, the history around it, what the artist was going through, track 5, what it really means, this and that. And it's really good. And 2 days ago, I went and got the one about Tribe's first album.
People's Instinctive.
Yeah, People's Instinctive, Travels and Paths of the Rhythm. And it's good to read this and learn things about this album that I didn't know. I got this one and I got an Earth, Wind & Fire one. One of the most recent ones they did on a recent album is To Pimp a Butterfly by Kendrick.
So in this lead up, number one, of course, he has to talk about like white kids for some reason, his obsession with them. And it's just funny because I think he was talking about like giving peckers and, you know, like peckers, yeah, a peck and not on the cheek, peck to white boys in some project 10 years ago. So I don't really get this. Is this like the zesty version of when a dude is like, yo, I hate that girl, or not a dude, when a tween, a 12-year-old is like, I hate that girl and he really likes her? Is this what's going on with Tyler, the Creator? Not too sure. But here he tells this great story about how he encountered this book that he found on the shelf. And it's funny because Tyler, the Creator, would go on another rant about how he couldn't even go to a bookstore without being recorded and it being posted online, because it ended up going online of someone that took the security footage from the bookstore that they work at, that Tyler, the Creator, visited, and posted it online. And then Tyler, the Creator's like, dude, I can't even go to the bookstore in peace, which I'm on his side with that one. Like, dog, come on. Let's be for real here. But number one, with that book, I guarantee you that book wasn't a bestseller. So you're talking about, yeah, you know, we need this history and we need this and we should have this. This is a very narrow worldview where you expect everybody to be like you. Because if in the domain of books, those books that you're talking about aren't even bestsellers, it's clear that even readers, of which there are increasingly fewer of, because everybody's on short, there are increasingly fewer podcast or long form content viewers and stream viewers than there were a couple of years ago, because so many people are watching short form. So you think books are going to perform well, and then those books that you're referencing, they're not bestsellers? There's not a demand for them. That's the problem. But there is a demand for gunna telling. And when he's talking about history, gunna telling is a really important part of history because this no snitching thing goes back decades. Like West Coast hip hop, where he's from. Now, we're not saying like West Coast is gangland, where it all started, right? So West Coast hip hop, where he's from, firmly held onto this no snitching thing, gang, this and that, and Suge Knight, all these other people. So whether or not somebody told and whether they could have a career after that is actually a very important conversation that's continuously had now, so much so that nobody cares about it. So Tyler, the Creator, we want to know, do you think it's a good thing that nobody cares about that anymore? Or do you think it's a bad thing for the people that lost their careers because of it? And I would like to be critical of Tyler, the Creator, and say that, okay, this guy, he should mention media outlets that do cover these things because there are some, but he did mention the book. So I think that's enough. But when you're talking about a series of books versus media outlets like The Shade Room and Akademiks and many others like it, I think you should be shining the light on the ones that you want to continue doing their thing. And I'll give you an example of why they cannot continue. Because let's take into consideration a Fantano, right? People hate this guy. I'm sure if he ever heard anything that I've said, he would probably hate me. But listen, I don't have hate in my heart. I don't have hate in my heart. It's just like hating is just a reflex. You know, you just get hit in the knee by the doctor and the reflex just goes off. So it's not in my heart. It's just a reaction to what I see. So I don't got anything wrong with Fantano, thankfully, because I just don't see what he does on Twitter. But this guy would just cover music. He would cover music. He would do music reviews, which would be exhausting. Like, you got to listen to an album multiple times, develop thoughts on it, have to produce a video for it. And increasingly, as he grew, they wanted it faster and faster and faster. So now there's the time crunch. And what did he end up doing? He ended up just talking about regular stuff too, on top of the music reviews that he already does. So even he left that. But I'll give you guys two examples. Dead End Hip Hop, they used to be a very, very in-depth channel that covered music, lyrics, breakdowns, things like that. I don't know. Are they still doing their thing? I know they had a wave where they were it, but are they still popping? Are they still able to make ends meet doing that? Especially because they're a group of guys, I think. Weren't they like 4 guys? So there's them. And then there's also another channel that I am in love with this channel. I have watched this channel and have repeatedly listened to it so many times. And that channel is a faceless channel that's never spoken. And that is Times New Roman. It's Nuroman. So Times New Roman is a channel that I don't know if it's only exclusively, but it's posted damn near every single Lupe Fiasco song. Not every single Lupe Fiasco song. The majority of songs or entirety of that channel are Lupe Fiasco songs. And it does lyrical breakdowns, but the visual components of the lyrics. So it's not just writing lyrics and highlighting stuff. You're watching almost like a music video, but each frame or each bar, you're seeing the visual representation for it. And these videos take so much effort from this person. And you can tell that this is a fan project from the heart because this person is making no money from this because they're using the music. So the record label, or Lupe Fiasco in this case, whoever the rights holder is, they're taking all of the money from that. And this takes a ton of effort. So the only way somebody's going to do this is for a passion project. And then they won't be able to be consistent with it if it's a passion project. So there's 2 examples that are doing what Tyler, the Creator, talks about wanting to see more of, but they can't continue it. It's like a formula that is destined to die. And what usually happens is people are young, maybe teenagers, things like that, and they'll do something that Tyler, the Creator's talking about and build themselves like a little audience, really tiny amount, making $0 off of it. But then college hits, life hits, job hits, and they don't have enough time to dedicate to that. They're making nothing from it, so they just fall back. And record labels, they really screwed a lot of people over because people that were the biggest music lovers needed to use at least a little bit of the music to give in-depth analyses and things like that, which there is a market for, but they killed it because now those people are like, yo, it's not even worth me dealing with this. So my biggest frustration with Tyler, the Creator, is he fundamentally wants the average person's, which there are hundreds of millions of, he wants their desires and their attention to be wired differently in the same way that his is, which is ridiculous, dog. He himself said he follows and opens Akademiks and Shade Room every day. You are one of the people that you're complaining about. Now, you could say, yeah, well, I also buy these books and I support all of these other things, which is all well and good. But the thing is, you have the luxury of time and money and youth that other people don't. Other people, they're working all day. So they want to come home to some relief. They don't want to come home to some homework. They don't have as much time as you, Tyler, the Creator, to read. They don't have as much time as you, Tyler, the Creator, to listen to the entire D'Angelo catalog if they just discovered him and they're 26 years old and their girlfriend's pregnant. They don't got that time. They just want something that's going to decompress them. And them opening up Akademiks and seeing some funniness, or them opening up No Jumper and seeing the two new hosts battling it out, is enough for them to relax and decompress before they got to clock back in tomorrow to, well, everyone that watches me is unemployed, so you guys can't relate to that. But yeah, clocking into work. And this is where there's going to increasingly become a disconnect between Tyler, the Creator, and everybody else, and why he's been turning into an old head for the past 5 years. Like, this guy's in his ivory tower living a life where he's not really in tune with what the people want and what's going on. Realistically, Shade Room and Akademiks interact more with the average hip-hop fan / listener than he does. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. I don't like that this was portrayed as Tyler dissing Akademiks journalism, because in the context of the conversation, that's not what was being said. But there is still a good conversation to be had here in regards to what Tyler was saying. So I just wanted to come clear the record on that. I don't like to see people misrepresented. But let me know what y'all think in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. And I'm going to see y'all in the next one.